I think this idea that one person controlling all this farmland, you think it's negative, and I wanted to know why, since you are a farmer.
Yeah. All right. So it's really not just one person controlling that much farmland. It's having a technocrat. You know, as I've explained earlier, I think that the mess we're in has been primarily caused by misapplied technology. Pesticides, chemical fertilizers, subtherapeutic antibiotics, hormone implants, And I think that Bill Gates, not just Bill Gates, but the people like Bill Gates, find technology as being the solution for every problem. If the only tool you got is a hammer, everything looks like a nail. And with what he's done in Africa and India and some other places, caused me to really, nothing I can do about it. It's caused me to really disdain technocrats controlling land. People who.
And what are these things? What are these things that have been done in these other countries?
Yeah. Let them pull that up. I don't want to get into the intricacies of those train wrecks, but there have been train wrecks by bringing technology in as the solution in these biosystems. Stuart Varney wanted me to say, Bill Gates is an evil man, and I don't have that to say. I'm not judgmental on who's evil, who's not.
Do you think he wanted you to say? I think he just wanted you to say it quickly. That's why I wanted to bring you here, so you could expand. Okay. See, like, you do have this very comfortable way of discussing things. It's very great to hear, but you need time.
Yeah.
And these are complex issues. So this complex issue of a technocrat using technology is the only tool. This is what you have an issue with.
That's what I have an issue with.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
And you think that that's going to be, if this is the largest farm owner in the world, or in the country rather, and he owns that much land, he's going to use it that way. You take issue with that.
I do.
And you also take issue with this idea that there's this binary approach to raising animal agriculture, that it is inherently evil. And you're saying, no, it's not, and no, it's not bad for the environment if you do it my way.
Absolutely.
So if Bill Gates was the #1 farmland owner in America and he adopted your practices, that would be a net positive for everybody.
It would.
And maybe he will. Maybe he'll listen to this, and maybe he'll realize, you know what, we could do a lot more good if we have not just carbon neutral, but carbon negative, where you're actually extracting greenhouse gases from the environment and using them in a natural way to grow food for everybody. That could be done. Maybe he's the answer. Maybe someone like him who makes the decision, who owns that much land, he says, you know what? This Will Harris guy's got a really good point. This could be done. It's not impossible to imagine someone like him making that decision.
Yeah, you want me to tell you why I think that probably ain't going to happen?
Probably.
Why I think it probably will?
Yeah.
All right, so we discussed previously how the narrative that cattle are destroying the earth just caught traction, and everybody has heard it, and so many people believe it.
It's one of those narratives that people repeat whether or not they have the information at their fingertips or not.
Exactly. So let me tell you another one.
Okay.
Carbon is the problem. We have come to talk about carbon like it was evil.
Right.
Carbon is an element on the periodic chart.
We are carbon-based.
We are
life
carbon-based. That's exactly right. And I talked to you about the cycles of nature. Those cycles of nature are interchangeable, and carbon cycle is one of them. By interchangeably, they react together symbiotically. And you can't have if all your systems are working well except for carbon, it's not going to work. All of them got to work together. So the fact that the narrative's out there that carbon, not water, not microbes, not minerals, carbon. My belief is that is being done at some level intentionally. And there's no doubt in my mind that a technocrat can't come up with a machine technology that sucks carbon out of the air
Yeah.
and puts it in a little ingot that we can store in a warehouse or bury in the soil, bury in the ground. And that is not correcting, that's not going to correct climate change. It's got to be part of the cycles of nature. The carbon doesn't need to be sucked out. Can you imagine how much somebody could get paid for a machine that'll suck carbon out of the air?
I think they've made them. We talked about this before, that they have.
I think so too, but there's going to be an incredible amount of money made on those machines if we make people believe that the only problem is we just got too much carbon.
But would those machines be effective? We use those in urban environments where we don't have regenerative agriculture to do its natural cycle. Would those machines be effective in that if we do have an excess of carbon, they could bring it to like a natural balance?
Well, I mean, that carbon that's in those urban areas is the same carbon that's in the rural areas.
Right, but without the ability to grow regenerative agriculture in these urban areas, unless we decided to level buildings and start putting farms up everywhere.
I don't know that you got to do that.
What would you have to do?
Store the carbon on the areas that we're currently farming.
So that would do it.
It would certainly be a step in the right direction. So if my math's correct and we're storing 100,000 pounds of carbon per acre on my farm, yeah, I think so.
So one thing that we have to think about when it comes to pollution in urban cities is that the air is not as good. It's not as good for you, and this is not a knock on cities. Cities are great. If you want to live in a city, though, you have to acknowledge that you're paying a price for living those urban environments in terms of your health. Like that's a reality that's been documented in terms of like the length of life, that people that live in heavily polluted areas or areas with high particulate matter, they live less. They don't live as healthy. It's not good for you. Where you're living, the way you're establishing, it's actually better for everybody. It's better for you. You're breathing nice, clean air every day.
Absolutely.
And it's crazy that that's a radical thing, that's not the norm.
Well, I guess my point is that we have this problem with this linear thing we've been doing of pulling carbon out of the sea, the land, fossil fuels, and putting them up. And we've got a natural solution for it, which is the way we manage our land. And I hope we don't succumb to what we've succumbed in the past, which is just grabbing technology to do it in a way that's completely unnatural.